Palestinian officials say at least 12 people have been killed, dozens injured. The attack came on the third day of a planned prisoner swap between Russia and Ukraine. A Palestinian pediatrician who lost all but one of her children in Gaza is caring for her remaining son and husband.
9 of 10 brothers and sisters under 12, all killed in an apparent Israeli attack. Their parents, both doctors at Gaza's Nasser hospital, where father and son now fight for their lives. The Israelis say reports of the incident are under review.
CBS's Haley Ott in London. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
The owner of a popular ice cream shop with 45 locations nationwide says the sweet treat is easier to make at home than you might think. CBS's Wendy Gillette reports.
If you've ever screamed for homemade ice cream, the co-founder of Salt and Straw, Tyler Malik, has some tips in his new cookbook, America's Most Iconic Ice Creams.
Ice cream making is way easier than I think people kind of make it out to be. It's really simple. It's much more like savory cooking.
His ice cream base is made with 17% butterfat and created in only 5 or 10 minutes, though it's best when cooled overnight.
It's kind of like mother sauces, where if you learn the history and the food science of the best vanilla ice cream, you can start kind of riffing and creating really fun, unique versions of it.
Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
Who doesn't like ice cream? Linda Kenyon, CBS News.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Today brings another cool day, favoring sunshine with a high of 65, followed by a chilly night tonight with a mainly clear sky and a low of 41. Tomorrow, Memorial Day, looks to feature plenty of sunshine, less cool conditions with a high of 60, but clouds return for Tuesday, even a spotty afternoon shower, high 69. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The following is an editorial by KDKA Radio Senior Vice President Market Manager Michael Spacciapoli.
Memorial Day is a federal holiday to honor American military personnel who died while serving in the armed forces. It is a day for visiting cemeteries and memorials for the 1.9 million service members who died in the line of duty. This year we want to share a story about a Marine killed in action during Operation Iraqi Freedom. Sergeant Michael Bitts was a close friend of Marine veteran Devlin Robinson and died rescuing wounded soldiers during a battle near Nasirah. On the Big K Morning Show, Now State Senator Robinson said Sergeant Bitts died when his vehicle was hit by a mortar round. Robinson said his friend was funny, a Marine's Marine, and a father of 5.
His wife was pregnant while he was killed, so he never got to meet the 5th child.
Robinson says he thinks of Sergeant Bitts frequently. His fallen friend is only one of the Americans who made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. Honor them this weekend.
This has been an editorial by KDKA Radio Senior Vice President Market Manager Michael Spacciapoli. To view a transcript, go to kdkaradio.com.
Rob Frax on the voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
So imagine it's well over 100 years ago, and you come to this country through Ellis Island with your small children in tow. And then before you know it, the war of all wars breaks out, and your firstborn, now of age and an American citizen, has to go back to the old country, not to visit friends and family, but to defend this new country. Memorial Day is a very special holiday to me because it's about paying tribute to those who've made the ultimate sacrifice, those who have died during war. And then after that war took place and there was victory in Europe, it wasn't very long after, a few decades that went by quickly and watched this country grow through some good times and bad times. It was the start of World War II. Atrocities being committed to people of the Jewish faith because of Nazi Germany. And once again, people in this country were called upon to fight, and they did. Not a single taxpayer dollar was used to defeat Nazi Germany because it was war bonds. People who were literally living hand to mouth because of the Great Depression that began in 1929 when Wall Street came crashing down, still found enough shekels to buy those war bonds. $8 billion later, there was victory in Europe and Japan. And once again, the United States prevailed. And those soldiers came home, many to marry their high school sweethearts and to return to work in the local steel mill. And we saw an industrial age that prospered this country through the 50s that was second to none. But along the way came this thing that was the Korean War, in which many of those who fought in World War II, if they were still young enough, they returned to see action, never questioning, simply doing what they needed to do. And then after all of that, there were rumblings in, well, a place called Vietnam. It was to start off as a police action, but it became much worse, and thousands came home in flag-draped coffins. And we have seen battle time and time again, from Desert Storm, of course, the Persian Gulf, the Middle East, and Afghanistan. And there are men and women who continue to serve and protect this country and countries around the world. All I'm asking is that you take time this Memorial Day to do something that I've been doing my entire life, as long as I can remember, because my father made me understand the significance of this holiday and the men and women of the military. So take a little time and put up your flag in between a barbecue or definitely visiting that parade in your hometown, and just take a little time to remember the significance. And many of us have no idea what it would like being in war because of the sacrifices that were made by many to give us a chance to live in peace and harmony. Let's just pray and hope that it stays that way, but never forget those who made the ultimate sacrifice. That's what Memorial Day is all about. Patriotism, so important, but especially this weekend. And our commander-in-chief, who is definitely standing up for America, trying to make America, in his words, great again, spoke to some of the greatest, West Point, those who represent the military academy, and many who will now go on and do incredible things in the military. Looking back on the rich history of this country, I've always been fascinated by West Point and the history of it, the war college, if you will. And yes, I think about the Great Divide when Ulysses S. Grant and Robert E. Lee, both proud to attend West Point on that fateful day, had to go their separate ways. One went south, one went north, and the Civil War began. And truly some of the most bloodiest battles that this country has ever witnessed. It was literally family member against family member. That was long ago, but let's never forget Memorial Day and the significance of it. But what the president did yesterday gave us once again that hope that America will become great again, not just because of the economy that does need to be turned around, but going back to the greatest generation and even the immigrants who came here at the turn of the 19th going into the 20th century with one thing in mind, wanting to become American citizens, who many did and went off to fight in war. Those are the shoulders of giants that we stand on today. And that's why on this holiday weekend, when you're out with family and friends, just think about where we are right now. You may not always agree with the politics of our president, but he truly is a commander-in-chief who has based his administration and his life on business, the economy, the United States of America, and the red, white, and blue, the flag that flies so proudly for all of us. And when I think of what he has given to this country, when here is a guy that could have simply sat back and said, I've made my money, now let me enjoy the fruits of my labor. But instead, not once, but twice, decided to run for the highest office in the land to get reelected after failing in between. Why did he want these bookend administrations? To continue to promote America, but just like yesterday and the day before that, and it will be moving forward for the rest of his time on this planet, it's all about saluting America and prosperity and the people, the men and women who serve the military, and yes, this Memorial Day weekend, those who made the ultimate sacrifice. And by giving that commencement speech at West Point, there will be generations of those cadets who will tell their significant other, their friends, their family, their children and grandchildren about the day that they threw their hats in the air and the president came to tell them and to promote them and to pat them on the back and wish them well, representing that flag, the United States of America. Yeah, I get really emotional when it comes to this holiday because we've all been affected by it, and the stories that I've been taught and told, and how I have grown as a man witnessing some of the greatest men and women on the planet. And no, they're not celebrities of any kind. They're not on a big screen in a local motion picture theater. They're not performing in some arena or stadium on a stage. And yeah, they're not some politician changing the world or someone who's invented something that will change the course of the human race. They're just people who, when asked, served. Many of them have stories that you can't even imagine, nor can I, because of what their valor was and what they did. We've all been living in peace for a very long time. So never forget what this weekend is about, and more importantly, whenever you get a chance to thank a man or woman representing any branch of the military in that uniform, just take a little time and walk over and simply say, excuse me, I want to take time to thank you for your service. And now more than ever, we need to come together as a nation, and patriotism has never been more important. And if you've been saying to yourself, I really need to do more, there's not a better weekend than right now to get started. All right, lots to get to with your Pratt Pack today. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Good morning.
This is certified elder law attorney Julian Gray, and I've been helping Pittsburghers for 30 years navigating the legal issues surrounding aging. Get ready for your retirement years and what lies ahead with a no-obligation consultation. Visit grayelderlaw.com.
News Radio, KDKA, Sports.
Sports brought to you by Coons Market with 8 locations to serve you better. O'Neill Cruz got a triple in the go-ahead run. Mitch Keller struck out 7. Bucks beat the Brewers 2-1. Two teams again today. PNC Park 135 first pitch, 93-7 the Fan. Florida took a commanding 3 games and unlead in their playoff series against Carolina with a 6-2 win last night. And Minnesota woke up offensively, scored 143 to 101 for OKC. OKC leads the series 2-1. Charles Schwab challenged Ben Griffin and Matthias Schmidt. 13 under are your leaders. Riverhounds beat Rhode Island 1-0. And it was William Byron winning yesterday in NASCAR in North Carolina. And later today they raced for the checkered flag at the Brickyard, the Indianapolis 500. More sports, 937thefan.com.
If you are new to Medicare and have questions, Aetna can help. Aetna has a Medicare Advantage plan that includes prescription drug coverage with a $0 monthly plan premium. Plus, the plan includes benefits like dental, vision, and hearing. Call Aetna today at 1-833-771-3415 to learn more. A licensed agent will answer your call.
Aetna Medicare is an HMO PPO plan with a Medicare contract. Our DSMPs also have contracts with state Medicaid programs. Enrollment in our plans depends on contract renewal. Plan features and availability may vary by service area.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at kennyross.com.
I really need funding to expand my inventory.
Swish Funding can help you expand inventory, upgrade equipment, and boost your cash flow.
Well, okay, but I need funding fast.
Swish Funding provides funding from $25,000 to $2 million with payment terms tailored to your needs and cash in your account in less than 24 hours.
So what's the catch?
No catch. If you've been in business for at least 1 year with monthly revenue of $50,000, you could qualify. Just go to swishfunding.com to apply. That's swishfunding.com.
I'm a pretty great multitasker. I can wash dishes and do laundry. I can roller skate while walking my dog. I can even order lunch while doing my homework. But I can't use my phone while driving. A distracted driver is one of the leading causes of death in the United States. So when it comes to driving, please, don't be a multitasker.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Did you know that now you can listen to all your favorite stations, including this one, shows, and even podcasts, all on the Odyssey app? Download it now.
The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, so we had such a big day yesterday talking about U.S. Steel, Nippon Steel. And it was a great day, and I can't thank you enough, everybody that participated. And we'll have a little bit more later this week. Tomorrow night, though, it's our Memorial Day show. We're going to be joined by some guests and reminisce a little bit. But I thought, why not kick off today and talk a little bit about Memorial Day and the significance of it, and maybe give you a chance to share just some of your thoughts and things that, you remember about your time maybe in the military or just Memorial Day. So love to hear from you. If you have anything on your mind you want to talk about, give us a call, 866-391-1020. And especially, the stories that we were told while growing up, how really amazing they were. Listen, I want to make sure that I get this out. I've kind of got so busy yesterday, but I wanted to double up just to make sure everyone knows that Monday, tomorrow, May 26th, Memorial Day at 11:25 a.m., C-17 confirmed their flyover at the wall in Shaler. So I just want to let you know that the wall is in Shaler, and they're going to have a flyover. Lots of parades happening throughout the area. Of course, the city of Pittsburgh. This is really a significant weekend. And, I couldn't help but think about the steel industry quite a bit over the last couple of days and why it's who we all are. But imagine at the end of World War II, okay? Just imagine you had a sea of humanity where all of these now men who went before many of them were even shaving 18, 19, 20, 21 years of age, coming back mid-20s, hardened, stronger, bigger, more callous as far as not just on their hands from holding a rifle, but then their heart, because they had seen things, in the Pacific and in Europe that, I'm sure growing up, they never thought they would ever see. And they were hoping that their high school sweetheart was still here, they'd get married. And many of them, I can tell you, my father in particular, there was like no time off. They went right into the mill and started their incredible life. Many people say, well, so-and-so retired at 60, so-and-so retired at 58, so-and-so. Well, you got to realize many of them had 35 and even close to 40 years in the mill, because some were actually working in the mill, went off to war, held on to their seniority, and came back and picked up where they left off. So, and also, if you think about those World War II vets, the majority of them, they were hard drinking, hard smoking, hard workers. They didn't hire people to do yard work or dig a garden or paint their house or put a roof on. They did all of that, took care of their kids, found time to go to service on the weekend, and basically helped out the community by being volunteer firemen or whatever. So it was basically, we're back from the war nonstop. Many of them, like my dad, early 70s, passed away and their life was over, okay? And I often think sometimes when I retire, whenever that is, I hope whoever is in this air chair will continue to promote the significance of Memorial Day. When I think of stories, that I have many, it's just incredible. And I have stories that aren't so full of valor. I have a friend whose son was a Marine who returned home and was ready to step in and take over the family business, and everything seemed right with the world. And he went into another part of the house one day and took his life. And I've never gotten over that. I think about it to this day. Handsome young man who had such a bright future. And then other stories of suicide, and my longtime broadcast partner who I spent so many years with, literally 2 decades on and off, 8-9 months out of the year. And he would tell me these stories about being in Vietnam, and always this day was so important to him. And it was so many of the stories that I learned about Vietnam from him on those long car drives that we had traveling through eastern Ohio, western Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. I mean, we were together more so than even family members. At the time, my children, wives, 2, 3, 4 nights a week. From August until March, April, May, we were together. And then just a few Christmases ago, I got the word that he just decided to take his life. And it's changed my whole thought process about why we need to promote, why we need to talk. Because you see, the men that came home from World War II had a purpose. They were given an opportunity. Those mills were flourishing and they could go to work and their mind was busy and they had a chance to be able to put a lot of this stuff in the back of their thought process because they had a job to do. They were doing things with their hands. They had the focus. And then by the time they got home after an 8-hour shift, many were tired, got something to eat, spent time with their family, drifted off to sleep, eat and repeat, and did it again. And like my friend from that Vietnam War era, the only difference, and one of the reasons why I think we have continued to lose so many soldiers day in and day out for whatever reason who survived battle, is because the economy isn't giving them an opportunity to return from war, to leave the military, and pick up a job that will keep their mind busy, their hands busy, and they're going to be able to contribute to society and basically go on like many of our fathers did of the greatest generation. Think about it. When Vietnam, that war ended, many of those men came home who were now men, and the steel mills were closed. There was no place for them to go. There was no opportunity for them to say, oh, I've got a job. All I got to do is get back home, and I'm going to marry Jane or Joni or whomever, and we're going to have a life. Well, it's hard to have a life no matter how much you're in love, no matter how sparks fly and absence makes the heart grow fonder, and you embrace on a moonlit night after not seeing each other for 2 years, and you've been in Vietnam, and you're two young people with all these hopes and dreams, and there's no job. With all due respect, love and sparks and fireworks only go so far. If you can't pay the mortgage or put food on the table or have the ability to have good health care, it doesn't work. So as World War II veterans were doing, self-medicating at the local bar with that bottle of whiskey at home at night, it could only go so far because they knew they had to get to bed and they had to get up and go to work, or knew that they were coming home at that midnight hour from working that late shift. They had to get to bed 2, 3 in the morning because they had to get up by noon or 1 and do it all over again. That's what they had to do. And they did it. Why? Because they understood the significance of what it was all about, being someone who paid it forward in America. But they were busy. They had things they had to do, people they had to meet, places they had to go, responsibility because of that job. Well, sadly, when the jobs were removed, they had no opportunity after that. No chance to go anywhere or to do anything other than to simply wonder what their life was all about. So if not for anything else, one of the best aspects of this story, as far as U.S. Steel is concerned, is the fact that we're going to have an opportunity to hang on to 11,000 jobs, possibility of, when it's all said and done, creating 17,000 jobs. But the men and women who decide to go into the military and spend a few years by serving our country, wherever that may be, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, Army, Marine Corps, they come back and they simply said, I have done my time. I have served the United States